Parker and Elizabeth might only be 20 minutes apart, but they are completely different lifestyles. I actually had a client recently who moved out to Elizabeth thinking that they wanted more space and quiet. And within about 6 months, they were like, I think we made the wrong choice. And then I've had other clients who move out to Parker and said, this is actually way too busy. We should have gone out to Elizabeth. So in this video, I'm going to break down the real differences between Parker and Elizabeth, and more importantly, how to figure out which one is exactly right for you. If we haven't met yet, I'm Marjorie, a top realtor with Engel Homes Group. I help people move to Parker, Elizabeth, and all over the Denver metro area. And this is one of the most common questions I get. Because on paper, they can look similar, but when you actually live in them, they feel completely different. So let's start with the biggest difference. And this is where most people either get it right or regret it. Lifestyle. Parker is convenience. Elizabeth is space. That's really what it comes down to. In Parker, you've got everything you need. Target, restaurants, gyms, schools, activities, all within just a few minutes. You can run errands, grab dinner, take your kids to activities, and it's all right there. Elizabeth is the exact opposite. You're trading that convenience for land, privacy, and a slower pace. You're going to drive more. You're going to plan for your errands. It's just a completely different lifestyle. Just to give you an idea, you can get to Denver from Parker in about 20 minutes. If you're coming from Elizabeth, it can take you anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour. I recently had a family moving from out of state, and they were dead set on acreage. They loved the idea of it, but I remember asking them how often they all went out to eat, and their answer was all the time. I immediately warned them that that was going to have to change. They still chose Elizabeth, and they absolutely love it, but that was a big adjustment for them in the beginning. If you're used to Uber Eats or DoorDash, you're in for a rude awakening. If DoorDash does deliver it to your house in Elizabeth, it's likely that your food won't be too warm when it does get to you. Now let's talk about money, because this is usually the next big factor. Generally speaking, you're going to get more for your money in Elizabeth. More land, sometimes larger homes, more flexibility, but it's also not as cheap as people think. Parker is more built out, more in demand, and that helps drive pricing higher than in Elizabeth. But here's the thing. Elizabeth's average home price is $668,000, but that is also driven down a little bit by all of the neighborhoods in Elizabeth. If you're looking for a home on over an acre, you can add another $100,000 to that number. But more realistically, you're probably going to be around $800,000 or higher for a nice home on acreage. Now, average sales price in Parker is $675,000, but does vary significantly based on the size of the home and the area. I recently had a client who was deciding between a smaller home in Parker and a bigger property in Elizabeth. At first, they felt like they could get so much more out here, but once they really talked through their day-to-day life, commute, kids, activities, they ended up choosing Parker because it fit their lifestyle better. So it's not just about price, it's about how you actually live. If you have kids in sports, it's a big decision maker. I moved my kids out here in 2016 from Littleton. My son was playing hockey at that time in Littleton. He was so small that we had no idea the commitment that we were making back then, but we ended up driving back and forth to Littleton almost every single day for years so that he could continue to play. For me, it was worth it because I wanted to be able to raise my kids on acreage. I never had to worry about them, and if you still ask them now, they would still choose to grow up on acreage. If you're enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe, and feel free to comment any questions that I can answer for you. So let's talk about commute, because this is where people either love their decision or start questioning it. If you're working in Denver DTC or even parts of Parker, living in Parker is just easier, no questions. Elizabeth, you're adding time every single day. Now, some people just don't care, especially if they work from home or only go into the office a couple days a week. But if you're commuting daily, you really need to think that through. I had a client who thought the commute wouldn't bother them at all. But after about a year, they were like, okay, this is way too much. and we ended up helping them sell their home and move into town. So this is one of those things you just want to be honest with yourself about. I personally find the drive not terrible. My office used to be in DTC when I lived in Littleton, and it took me the same amount of time to get there as it did when I moved to Elizabeth. The difference is that I didn't hit a bunch of traffic. I honestly find the drive peaceful, but some other people find it just too far and too much driving. Now let's talk about the type of home and what exactly you're going to get in each area. In Parker, you're mostly going to find neighborhoods, subdivisions, HOA communities, newer builds, and more traditional setups. In Elizabeth, you're going to see a lot more acreage, custom homes, properties on well and septic, space between neighbors. So it really comes down to what you want for your property and what you want it to look like. If you're looking for a custom home on acreage, Elizabeth is likely going to appeal to you more. If you want horses, a farm, or any other type of outdoor animal, you'll fit in more in Elizabeth. We have multiple public indoor arenas, so if your interest is horses, you most definitely want to be in Elizabeth. If you are looking for a great neighborhood community that is close to shopping, schools, and other amenities, Parker is going to be more appealing to you. I have a lot of clients who come out to Elizabeth because they want to shop, animals, or just space because Parker just doesn't offer it the same way as Elizabeth does. Now let's talk about something that people don't always talk about, day-to-day living. In Parker, life is much easier. Everything is close, everything is built for convenience. In Elizabeth, life is a little more intentional. You're planning your trips, your errands, your schedule. Some people love that because it slows things down. Others, it drives them crazy. I've had clients tell me both. Some say they'll never go back to the city life, and others say they didn't realize how much they relied on convenience. Grocery store trips can turn into a half-a-day adventure. Going to the store for one ingredient for dinner isn't very likely, so it's important to get to know your neighbors if you decide on Elizabeth. So here's how I break it down, really simple. If you want convenience, activities, and everything close by, Parker is going to make more sense. If you want space, privacy, and a quieter lifestyle, Elizabeth is probably your better fit. Neither one is better, it just depends on what you like. And honestly, this is why I always tell people, don't just pick based on price or what looks good online. Walk through your actual day, how you live, what you need, because that's what determines if you're going to love where you live or regret it. If you're trying to decide between Parker, Elizabeth, or anywhere around here, please reach out to me. I'll help walk you through it based on your situation, not just general advice. I'm a top realtor selling in Elizabeth and Parker area and would love the opportunity to help you. And if this video helped, make sure you like and subscribe. I've got a lot more videos breaking down different areas and what it's really like to live here. I'll see you on the next one.